You know the feeling of walking into a room and realizing you completely forgot why you went in there in the first place? Except it is not just a room, it is your entire life. And it is not that you forgot who you are, it is that you have been grazing on so much information, so many questions, so much collective noise that your nervous system is vibrating at a frequency that won't let you settle. How are you finding yourself right now? How are you finding yourself in this noise, love? For reals, where are we? Because if you are arriving here with a chest that feels slightly tight or a mind that keeps spinning like a hamster wheel at 3 in the morning, well, I want to tell you something very clearly. You are not crazy. You are just living through the weather of a astrological moment that has been engineered to pull you apart. On May 31st, we arrive at the second full moon of this month, a rare blue moon at 9 degrees of Sagittarius. Now, most of the conversation you are going to hear online about this new nation is going to tell you to look for adventure. They're going to tell you to set massive intentions, to manifest a brand new life, and to leap into the mystery, to scream your truth through a megaphone. They are going to tell you to make a big declaration. But there is a question nobody is asking you. What if the loudness of this moment is actually covering up something much deeper? What if this urge to make a big announcement, the urge to post something, to explain yourself to people who never asked for your opinion, is actually just a defense mechanism to keep you from sitting with the one truth you already recognize? Well, by the end of our time together here today, you are going to feel a different kind of permission with this lunation. Not the permission to speak louder, but the permission to let the noise die so that your life can actually catch up with you. We're going to look at the bones of this astrological moment. We're going to talk about why the scrolling won't stop and how to build a backbone that can hold the truth of what you are actually being asked to stand behind. So, without further ado, let's talk astrology. Now, to understand this full moon, we have to look at the architecture of the sky on May 31st. We have this moon standing at 9 degrees of Sagittarius, which is the sign of the Archer. Sagittarius wants the single organizing conviction. It wants the truth that changes the trajectory of your entire life. It hates loose ends and it demands meaning. But across the sky, there is a crowded room. We got the sun in Gemini, which is the territory of the immediate mind, the data accumulator, the collector of facts. But the sun is not alone. Mercury is sitting right there at 28 degrees of Gemini as well, having spent the entire month gathering information. And Uranus is at 2 degrees of Gemini as well, fresh into a brand new 7-year cycle that is completely rewiring how we connect, how we process, and how we distract ourselves. So we have 3 planets in Gemini. It is a stellium of information obsession. Gemini is like a room full of people shouting questions, tossing articles at you, updating the feed, offering 3 more perspectives you need to consider before you take a step. It is the realm of and then, and then, and then, and then, and then. And on the other side of the sky, standing all by itself, is this Sagittarius full moon. It is like one quiet archer trying to hold an arrow steady while 50 people in a room are screaming instructions on how to aim. This opposition lands in the very first decan of Sagittarius, the territory of the 8 of Wands. And if you look at this image, you see 8 wooden staves flying through the air, moving at high speed, completely suspended. There is no ground in this card. It is pure velocity. It is information of the mind, arrows of thought flying through the dark. And let's be honest here. That is our entire life right now, isn't it? We are drowning in the 8 of Wands energy. We have 80 tabs open right now. We have 3 books on our nightstands that we have read 20 pages of. We have 15 podcasts we began and never finished because something else caught our eye. We are grazing. We are information hoarders. We gather the data. We learn the terminology. We read the books on trauma. We study the systems, and we think that because we have labeled the experience, we have metabolized it. But we haven't. We have just built a bigger library to hide inside of. Now, Uranus and Mercury in Gemini wants you to believe that the solution is more information. If you just read one more article, if you just listen to one more forecast, if you just dissect your chart one more time, then you will feel safe. But the Sagittarius moon is looking at you dead in the eye and saying, the arrow has to land somewhere, my love. This is where the structure comes in. This full moon carries an ally that most people are going to completely overlook because we have been trained to fear him. The moon is forming and applying a trine to this entire situation station, which is harmonious. It's cooperative 120-degree angle. And this 120-degree angle, this trine moment is Saturn at 12 degrees of Aries. Now, Saturn is usually the one who brings the audit. He is the principal. He is the landlord. When Saturn shows up, we usually tighten our shoulders because we assume we are about to get called into the master's office to account for our failures. But under this Sagittarius moon, Saturn is not here to penalize you. He is providing supportive scaffolding. He is providing structure. Saturn in Aries is saying, I will give your conviction some bones. Please trust me. I will give your truth a physical container so that it doesn't just evaporate. Because Sagittarius energy, left to its own devices, can be belief without form. It can be opinion without anchor. It can be the person who gets drunk on inspiration on Sunday afternoon and makes 100 promises to themselves, and then by Tuesday morning has completely forgotten the feeling because the winds of change have come through. Saturn in Aries says, we don't do that anymore. Saturn is the boundary that turns water into a river. And this trine is giving you permission to stop believing performatively. You do not need to have a loud opinion on every single thing to be a person of substance. You do not need to broadcast your healing to prove you are healing, okay? Aries is a sign of the warrior, the first step, the raw action. Saturn is that structure. So when you put Saturn and Aries together with the Sagittarius moon, what you get is a mandate to test your theory in the dirt of your actual life. If you believe in community, well, Saturn in Aries asks, who do you help move this week? If you believe in boundaries, well, Saturn in Aries asks, did you say no to that email, or did you overcompromise yourself again because you are terrified of being disliked? If your beliefs only exist when you are talking about them, well, they are not your beliefs. They are just your Gemini stuff, your Gemini outfit. They are just the clothes you wear to feel smart and safe in the room. Let us bring all of this down to the ground where we actually live a little bit more, okay? Now, I get it. We live under an economic system that thrives on our inability to let that arrow, that Sagittarius arrow, land. We got capitalism, patriarchy, the empire. They don't care what you believe in as long as you are too distracted to do anything about it. The algorithms on our phones are designed to keep us in that Gemini loop forever. They want the rapid response outrage. They want you scrolling, reacting with a capital R, sharing the posts, getting that hit of dopamine, and then moving to the next tragedy before you have even had the human decency to weep for the first one. It is attention extraction, and it is violent as fuck. We are being scroll mined. Yeah, our grief, our rage, our hope, our spiritual hunger is being turned into data points for companies that profit off of our exhaustion. And this Gemini stellium, when exploited by these systems, turns our minds into a crowded hallway where we are constantly dodging arrows of opinion. Who is right? What is the correct stance? What do I say to prove I am a good person? And this lunation is saying, Can we stop all that noise? The revolution of this Sagittarius blue moon is the refusal to give away your focus. It is your north node right now, your stretch. It is saying, I am going to turn off my megaphone. I am going to let the crowd in Gemini scream all they want. I am going to pull back that bowstring right now, and I'm going to focus on the one thing that actually belongs to me, on the one dream I actually want to point my essence toward. Because when you are committed to everything, you are committed to nothing. When you try to be everywhere, you exist nowhere. The system wants you broad and shallow and reactive, and this moon is calling you deep and narrow and absolute. It is the moment your chest gets quiet and your hands start moving because the talking part is over and the embodiment part is beginning. And I gotta be honest with you, I'm not about to sit here on this screen and pretend that I have it all figured out, baby. I am a mess with you, for real. Hours. That word has been tracking me down all day. The hours we spend looking at screens, looking for answers, looking for validation. I have spent the last 3 days falling down rabbit holes on this platform, reading comment sections, watching other astrologers, looking at the news, trying to find some kind of perfect context so that my anxiety doesn't feel so naked. My Aries sun wants to solve the problem immediately, and my Gemini energy wants to gather all of the theories. And I woke up yesterday morning and my hands were literally shaking and vibrating, and my mind was so loud I couldn't even hear the wind outside my window. I had 50 tabs open in my brain, and none of them were making me feel held. None of them were making me a better partner, a better teacher, a better ancestor. I was in the mindset that I was extremely aware, but crumbling under anxiety. And I had to literally walk out of my house. Literally, I had to leave my phone on the kitchen counter and go sit on the ground somewhere. Just sit there and feel the dry wind and let myself be completely painfully uninformed for an hour or so. And do you know what happened? Nothing. Like, the world did not fall apart because I stopped being informed. The theories did not evaporate because I stopped grazing, but I felt my heart rate slow down. I felt the heat leave my shoulders. I remembered that the astrology is not out here to get me, and that my life is happening right here in the kitchen, in the yard, in the eyes of the people I love. We do not get good at this without failure, my love. We simply don't. We try on the astrology, we make the mess, we overcompromise, and then we have to allow that tenderness to look at ourselves in to say, okay, we got lost in the sauce for a little bit. Now we go back to that North Star. Now we let that single arrow point us toward the direction of our soul's wanting. So what does the medicine look like under this full moon in Sagittarius? Well, it does not look like setting a list of 10 new life goals. It absolutely doesn't. It does not look like booking a flight to Bali on a whim because you want an adventure. It looks like boundary building. This moon is giving you permission to not have an opinion on everything. It is giving you permission to stop defending yourself. It is giving you permission to put down the research and to stop demanding certainty from a universe that's built on mystery, and to let your life simplify it all. Here is your homework for the next 72 hours, okay? I want you to pick one area of your life where you have been grazing on information instead of making a choice. Just one. Maybe you have been reading 5 different books on relative nutrition. I don't know, but you haven't cooked a real whole meal in a week. Maybe you have been studying communication dynamics, but you haven't sat down with your sister to have the uncomfortable conversation you have been avoiding since December. It's time to put the research down and to enter the territory of action. Saturn in Aries says, take the first step, not the perfect step, just the first one. And second, I want you to practice what I am calling 24-hour megaphone silence. For 24 hours, surrounding the peak of this full moon on May 31st, do not share an opinion online. Do not post. Do not explain your process. Do not try to prove you are doing the work. Let those wands, let those staves fly. Let the Eight of Wands scream. Let the arrows of other people's thoughts fly overhead in the dark, and let your own arrows sink deep into the quiet earth of your private life. See what happens to your shoulders when you stop trying to convince every room you walk into that you're here and that you need to be seen and that you need to be respected and that you need to feel smart. Because at the end of the day, love, we are not here to build libraries of concepts. We are building a life. The ancestor you are becoming is not going to be remembered for the number of open tabs they held or how neatly they summarized the transits on their social media feed. They are going to be remembered for what they stood behind when the world was literally tearing its fucking self apart. They are going to be remembered for the soil they tended to, the people they helped, and the quiet, solid truth they demonstrated through their hands, through their actions. That is the trine from Saturn. That is the architecture of conviction. Pull that arrow back and let yourself get quiet. Stop gathering and start building. All right? If you want to sit with this work, if you want to drop the performance of belief and step into a space where we read the sky in real time as a map for the real collective and somatic transformation we are on the precipice of, well, then I invite you to come into the collective, my private membership community, where we are doing this brave work every single week, not from a pedestal, but together in the mud, de-shaming ourselves one step at a time. The link is below. Also, if this medicine hit you in a soft spot today, well, then look at my previous video, Uranus and Gemini. It maps the 7-year transition that is rerouting your mind right now. And it will show you exactly why the scroll is starting to feel so magnetic. Also, drop any comments down below, subscribe, notification bells, all the things. Let me know where this Sagittarius territory lives in your chart and tell me what arrow you are finally letting land. I love you. I love astrology so fucking much. Thank you for being in this room with me. Try on the astrology, see how it works, and I will see you in the next video, my love. Bye for now.